Hello, my friends, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discourse in Magic. My name is Jonah Babbins, and today we are talking about your team. If you have a growing magic business, whether you've got an assistant or a manager or a videographer or an editor or whatever you have, a social media manager, I don't know, but you probably have an expanding team. And with that, you have to manage all of the documents and data and opinions and files and feelings of your team members. And to be able to communicate with your team is not an easy task. And certainly it's not a task that you can just do over email. All of a sudden, there are some other tools that are pretty important. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through 5 pieces of software that are going to make a huge difference if you are working with a team. And if you're not working with a team, then some of these might be still interesting for you. But really, this is for magicians who are working with a team. And by the way, these 5 pieces of software come from an entire worksheet that I have from the mastermind all about working with your team, which you can get your hands on if you send me a message with the word team, and I will send you the worksheet. There's a link to send me a message below. But let's get into this, starting with the biggest one that made the biggest difference in my business, and that is Slack. Before I had a team, people were talking about Slack, my peers, my friends that had real jobs, and I had no idea what they were talking about. I thought, isn't there enough ways to message people? Email, phone, WhatsApp, aren't there enough ways to message people? But what Slack allows, the biggest problem that it solves for my business is when I have multiple people on my team who maybe have to communicate with each other, I do not need to act as a middleman. And as well, Slack has really, really modern replying and emojis and liking and things like that. And I know that sounds small, but email is so old and ancient. You send like a bulleted list of 5 topics, and then they reply with a bulleted list of 5 topics. In Slack, you can send different ideas, you can go back and forth, and it's really, really great for conversations. And I remember an amazing highlight that I had is the first time I found out that 2 of my team members spoke to each other on Slack and got a whole project done without me knowing anything about it. And that was fantastic. So if you've got more than one team member or want to manage your conversations in a better place than your email inbox, it is free to use, and I recommend Slack as a first place to start. The second one is a resource that but I'm going to give you an extra tip for this resource, and that is Zoom. Now, I imagine at this point in time, you already have Zoom, and I also imagine that many of you are paying for Zoom, $20 a month or whatever, maybe for the under 100 person package. But here's the twist. Here's the thing you should do on Zoom that's going to cost a little bit more money, but make a huge difference. And that is cloud recording. That is, every time you get on a Zoom call, you have the opportunity to set it to record. Why is that helpful? Well, it's already going to record all of your shows, which is amazing. But the other reason why it's helpful is if you meet with your team and you share with them advice and details, all of that is recorded and documented so that you and them can visit it and revisit it later. And I cannot tell you how helpful that has been for my team and myself to be able to revisit our projects in our meetings and how we looked at it and how we planned at it too. Think about how much higher level your communications can be if you can be very meticulous about each phase of the project and not just like write down what you remember or anything like that. So tool number 2 is not only Zoom, but Zoom cloud recording. So you can document the actual training and education and working with your team and have it with you. Now, that begs an immediate question, which is, does that mean that after every recording, I have to go to Zoom and download the recording and send it off? The answer is no. You want people on your team to be able to have access to that recording. How do they have access? Do I give them a password? Well, you could, but there's an incredible third piece of software that I want to recommend, which is called LastPass. And there are a couple of different password managers. I honestly don't know the names of others, but the LastPass, password this, password that. There's tons of different password managers, and I'm sure there are ones that are better or worse than LastPass. But what LastPass is great for is I can add multiple people and add folders, which means I have a folder with a bunch of different passwords that I can share with other people on my team. And the way it works is they cannot see the password, but they can just use it. So that means other people on my team can use my Zoom password to log in and download the recordings of the videos, I do not have to go and download it for them and send it to them and slow down the back and forth. Instead, they have access to my Zoom and access to plenty of other things, that they need access to. So software number 3 to make your business super easy and working with a team super easy is LastPass. It is a way for you to share your resources with your team in a seamless way without them having to spend a ton of time sending passwords back and forth and making multiple accounts and anything like that. We've gone through number 3. Number 4, this is a very exciting one, is Loom. And there's a bunch of different other options other than Loom, but this one is, I think, the most popular. And what Loom is a very, very quick and speedy way to either record a video of your face or record a screen recording of your screen. Why is that important? Well, this is hands down the easiest way to communicate with your team the way that you're feeling and thinking, your wants and your needs, without having a meeting. Maybe you've got staff in different places around the world and you may not be able to meet at the same time. But exchanging a video where you're able to share your screen, talk freely, talk about how you feel, and they're able to watch through it. Similar to what I was talking about with the Zoom cloud recording, having that kind of ability to send a video and not have to write out every last detail of how you're feeling, but instead send a video either of your screen or of yourself describing your opinion makes a huge, huge impact in your ability to communicate with your team. And that's what all this stuff is about. It's about streamlining communication, about making your communication as easy and as smooth as possible. So tool number 4 is Loom. It's kind of your meeting replacement. You don't have to have a meeting if you can send a little recording with your notes or ideas or feedback or whatever the case may be. And then just like I said with the Zoom cloud recording, it is there recorded forever so that you can keep it and your team can watch it and rewatch it. That is number 4. Number 5, I saved my favorite for last, is Asana. Now, Asana is a task managing software. Again, there's plenty of others, things like Trello or Monday.com, lots of others. But the one that I like, or the one that stuck for me rather, because I've tried a bunch of them, but the one that stuck is Asana. You can use it for a ton of things, setting deadlines, making projects, just loads of different stuff. But the way that I use it is making projects with my team. I have projects, I have tasks, I'm able to assign tasks to people, I'm able to set due dates, give descriptions, and if I want to go back and see our projects in the past, because I want to do another one that's similar, again, I don't have to scroll through hundreds of emails and back and forths. It's all in one place, exactly where it should be. And what's so cool about this is if you build Asana or any of these task trackers into your business, then it's not an extra step to be organized. Being organized is the way you run your business. When you ask one of the people on your team to do something, you ask them to do it by assigning it as a task in Asana so that that's where it lives and you'll never have to go dig and find it again. So again, lots of other alternatives. Monday.com, Trello, plenty of others. I love Asana. Eventually, or there are features that you can pay for Asana, but the one that I use with a multi-person team is free, completely and entirely free. So the 5 pieces of software that I recommend are: number 1, Slack, that is communicating with your team and allowing them to communicate with each other in a smooth, easy, and searchable way. Number 2, Zoom, not only a great way to have meetings with your team, but also a simple way to record and document the notes from that meeting. Number 3, LastPass. This is a way to share passwords so that your team can use your accounts for things without making new accounts, having to pay double for them, without them actually having the title of your password. Number 4, Loom. This is a super quick way to send notes and feedback to your team verbally. So you can share your screen and you can share a video of your face. Either way, just send quick recorded and documented feedback to your team. And number 5, and my favorite, Asana. This is a task manager that allows you to communicate with your team and share feedback and get projects done in a place that is not your email inbox. Those are 5 pieces of software that will make a huge difference for you if you are working with a team. If you would like more help with this, below there is a link to chat with me on Facebook. Send me a message with the word team if you want some help working with your team, making it smooth, picking the right software, all of that. Send me a message with the word team and see if we can help. There's about a dozen people in the mastermind right now, and most of them are working with other team members and utilizing some of this software. So would love to have you aboard if you want some help with that. Otherwise, thank you for being here, and I'll see you next Thursday. Well, there you go. I hope you liked the episode, and I hope, of course, that you learned something. If you want some help with this stuff, not only picking the right software, but also implementing, working with your team, and maybe even hiring a team to help you scale your business, there is a link below to send me a message on Facebook, and send me a message with the word scale. Click the button and send me a message with the word scale, and we'll talk a little bit about this and see if I can help you hire someone or work with your team better with some software and scale your business. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next Thursday. Peace.